Let's get into some of these game previews because we have some monster games this Saturday in college football. Let's start with the biggie. Tennessee, number 1 in the CFP, going to Athens and facing the Georgia Bulldogs. It comes down to 3 things that I want to talk about in this game. It's location, it is defensive pressure, and it is quarterback matchups. That's where I think that the game is won and lost is because of that. The first is location. And I think that when you look at college football, in particular the teams that are in the top 15, top 10, it's incredibly rare for a team that is that good to get beat at home. Okay, Tennessee beat LSU on the road. That's really the best road win that anybody has in college football thus far. And what you see is really good teams that go into tough environments and get beat. It's littered with that. Oregon gets beat basically at Georgia. Alabama gets beat at Tennessee. USC gets beat at Utah. UCLA gets beat at Oregon. Ole Miss at LSU. Utah at Florida. And then at UCLA. So the environment and location is going to be very difficult for Tennessee to overcome. Now, having said that, the next 2 categories are places where they actually have a big advantage. The next is defensive pressure. And the problem is that Georgia does not present pressure on the quarterback. And to beat Hendon Hooker and these Tennessee Volunteers with the best offense in college football, you better get to the quarterback. And Georgia doesn't. They've only got 10 sacks on the year. That's 120th in the sport. And they're losing their best pass rusher in Nolan Smith. He's done for the season with that pec injury. He had 3 sacks on the year. And because of the space that Tennessee creates and just the quality of play in that passing game, Georgia better find a way to present some pressure on Hendon Hooker. And then the last thing is the quarterback matchup. Now, listen, I think that we would all give the edge to Hendon Hooker in the quarterback matchup. That being said, Stetson Bennett is still a really good player, and they've got a good passing game. With Georgia, they're averaging over 290 yards throwing the ball. The thing that I get nervous about is that as good as Georgia's defense is, they do give up some yardage in terms of the passing game. You look at last year, they gave up 332 to Tennessee, 421 to Bama in their first matchup in the SEC championship game, and then 369 in the national championship game. So Tennessee's going to be able to throw for some yards here. Tennessee, by the way, is getting 8 points in this one via Fox Bet. I would take Tennessee in those 8 all day long. I think Georgia probably wins the game late, but Tennessee certainly covers. Okay, next game up would be another big one in the SEC, and that's Bama going on the road to LSU. And it's similar to me. The location of this game really matters, and in particular for Alabama. This is not an Alabama team that is dominant on the road, and they haven't been really for 2 years. When you look at this Bama team, what you see is a defense that is really good, and particularly rushing the quarterback. Their statistics as far as total defense and scoring defense off the charts, right? They're really good. But when they're on the road, it's different. Bama's D on the road gives up 32 points per game. At home, they give up 7 points per game. All right, so something's got to give. Because here they go on the road again to a very tough environment. We've seen them struggle on the road now for a couple of years. I mentioned it earlier, but think about this year. They lost to Tennessee on the road. They only won by a point at Texas in a game they probably should have lost. They went last year to 4 overtimes against Auburn. They lost to A&M. They only had a 2-point win against Florida. This team struggles when they leave Tuscaloosa, and it's not a neutral site. So that's a big deal. Jaden Daniels is playing much better. The trump card for Alabama is the fact that they've got the best player in this game, and his name is Bryce Young. They've got to run the football well. They haven't been doing it great in the last couple of games. In fact, in the last 2 games, they're only averaging 2.5 yards per carry. That must get better to help them control the game, control the terms of the game, and control the crowd. I do think Bama wins, but they're favored by 13, and I think that LSU covers that 13. Now my game, Big Noon Saturday. We are headed to Fort Worth, and I cannot wait. We're going to go see Max Duggan, Sonny Dykes, and everybody down there in Frog Nation. TCU's favored by 9.5, and this is a team that is going to have a major chip on their shoulder. The way that the playoff committee ranked them was clear brand bias. They're going to want to prove a point, and they're going to try to do it Saturday against Texas Tech. Their fans are going to have a huge chip on their shoulder. This is a student section, by the way, that is becoming one of the best in all of college football. In fact, they've set a student attendance record at every single one of their home games, and it will be again true in their next one. Explosive offense, top 5 scoring, top 5 total offense, and the only team in the country that's throwing for 300, running for 200, and has 20 touchdowns, both passing and rushing. TCU 6-1 against the spread, facing a Tech defense that is 89th in scoring in the country. Can't wait to get down there to Fort Worth and party it up a little bit in what I think will be a tremendous atmosphere. By the way, Big Noon Kickoff will be there, 10 a.m. Eastern, and then Big Noon Saturday. Gus, Jenny, and I will have the call as TCU takes on Texas Tech. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here. College football on Fox.